back to Get With The Programming. I'm Chase Ingram.
I'm Captain America.
And along with me is Bill Grundler.
Wolverine.
Hey, I don't know if you guys noticed this or knew this. This is best kept secret in CrossFit. For the first time in history, the starting quarterback in the NFL is an avid CrossFitter, and he goes by the name of Tyson Bagent.
Wait.
Best kept secret in CrossFit.
It's not true.
Yeah. This Sunday, for
NFL players don't do CrossFit. What are you talking about?
No, NFL player, like professional athletes don't do CrossFit because it's not the greatest strength and conditioning program ever created by man / ever Greg Glassman. But for the first time in history, a starting quarterback in the NFL who is an avid CrossFitter.
How do you know he's avid?
Oh, he was on a press conference after he got put in the game for the first time in his NFL career, undrafted, by the way, D3, D2, same difference. Comes out and comes in the game because the starting quarterback for the Bears, Justin Fields, ended up getting hurt. He came into the game and he did it all. But I mean, he literally did it all. He had, I think it was like 10 for 14, threw for almost 100 yards, ran in a touchdown, happened to throw a pick, I think on the third play of the game, and maybe lost a fumble that cost him the game. He did everything he could possibly do in one start, randomly in the NFL, after just being an undrafted 4th or 5th on the depth chart coming into the season, makes the damn team, ends up being the backup quarterback, and now he is starting for the Chicago Bears on Sunday. I have never been more excited to watch a Chicago Bears game in my life.
You want to know what's really cool is you have all these other strength and conditioning programs out there with people saying that they're going to get you stronger or faster. They're going to have you doing foot drills and all of the stuff that's out there. And there's only one fitness program that the entire thing is about. The entire emphasis is performance and athleticism in making you a well-rounded GPP athlete. And if you have to have an athletic body that can move around and do all kinds of things and be good at everything, and they do CrossFit, and then you see them shine like in the big spotlight like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, why? What's so great is the fact that he's so open about it. I mean, granted, his dad is.
Travis.
Travis did the emceeing. He was, Greg's bodyguard for a while.
The world has ever seen.
The world's greatest left-handed arm wrestler ever. And that's what he did with his boy, was he brought him up doing CrossFit. Mm-hmm. He teaches other kids how to be a good football players by having them do CrossFit. If you want to be a good athlete or you just want to have great physical fitness, you do CrossFit.
Yes.
Hey, you know what? CrossFit should tell people about that. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, look, this is unlike NBC Sports Chicago. Look at this title. What if Tyson Bagent didn't get in the NFL? Here's his backup plan. My backup plan. Yeah, I was basically going to just CrossFit my life away, just get as ripped and jacked as I possibly could, and maybe be a teacher for Martinsburg High School. Thank you, Tyson.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, NBC Sports Chicago. Because that's what happens when you do CrossFit.
Yep.
This is what happens. Yes, Stefan, and it helps you look good and naked, which is kind of why I started to begin with. I started pure vanity seeking. And then I found out you could compete in it. And I was like, check 2 boxes of what I wanted to do, which leads us into what we're going to be talking about today, which is .com. We have guest programmers in .com. It first started with Dave Castro. What was about 2 months ago. Every 2 weeks, there'll be a new guest programmer on .com. We had 2 weeks of Dave Castro, which we went through last week. We're going to go through 2 weeks of Boz. And then Ben Smith is currently programming for .com. And what we would like to do after each one of these guest programmers is go through what they did, maybe tendencies that they have, because everyone's going to have their own unique flair and flavor. Hopefully they don't try to be too crazy just to like make a name for themselves, even though all these people already.
I think it's going to be interesting to see the different paintbrushes for sure. I don't think they're going to be trying to make a name for themselves. I think they already have the name.
I don't know, man. I could see some people going out there as like, I'm going to one up everybody and everyone's going to remember my 2 weeks of .com.
Do you think a known person in CrossFit would do that?
Yes.
Would you?
No.
Okay, well, like you're talking like a named person.
Yeah.
So far, we've had the biggest of the OGs.
Yeah.
And we've had one of the longest running champs, competitors.
I'm not saying it's happened yet. I could see someone doing that.
Man,
Dude, everybody's got an ego.
Egos, yeah, but like, I don't know. I think that
you don't think that's
I would think that would just douchebag yourself right out. I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm just saying
that's the thing. I'm leaving room for I don't know. I'm like being the total pessimist right now. It's like
you are. That's so not like you.
Quite the opposite. Quite the opposite. Devesh, what's up, man? Been a while. Good to see you guys. Happy Friday, everyone. We're going to go through Boz's 2 weeks of .com. We touched on this last week, and then I got an emergency call to get back to my daughter's daycare because I guess she had gotten sick. And so we are revisiting this. Now we'll do an episode per episode. This is on Boz's 2 weeks of .com. And before we get into it, I think revisit how we look at .com, what it's always been, and what we like to see when it comes to basically general GPP programming for .com.
Yeah, I think that the whole, we always talk about why. So when you're programming, you don't just program into a vacuum necessarily, which is what I think is really interesting about .com, because I think that's the one platform that you kind of do, or that kind of is set that way. You don't know who your population is that's going to be using it. You don't know the people that are in your gym. You don't know if it's a team that you have or anything like that. So you are purely programming with the idea of pure GPP, which I think if the general population was to program, that could either be very shackling because you don't know who you're supposed to be programming for, or it could be very then it becomes very black box. And that's what I really like, as we get into like Adrian's stuff, there's a lot of different stuff on his.
Yeah.
Which makes it really cool. And I hope that when people look at that, they're like, oh yeah, okay. So if I'm programming for just me, maybe not like a gym, but if it was just myself, then you can come up with some really cool stuff.
I know you said it could be shackling, and I see it as like freeing.
Well, I think some people get paralysis by analysis. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like too much.
Go so many different places.
Like I'm gonna go way the hell over there, and then way the hell over there, and I don't know how to put them together. There isn't like a flow for them. I'm not saying that it for everybody. I agree. It would be very free in me because it's like a freak. It's a completely free and extra large canvas you get to work with.
Yeah,
a lot of people don't have that. Usually, it's just like.
And you know what? You're right. It can be intimidating. They're like, you know what? Just put me in a confined space of programming because then I can nail it down. If you give me a blank canvas with no border,
where do you start?
You put my acrylics and my watercolors and my oil paintings and my my charcoal all out in front of me. Like, where do I start? Mm-hmm. Corey, thank you very much. Bearded Chase is my favorite Chase. You and my wife have the complete opposite reactions of what I currently look like at the moment.
I think everyone likes you with a beard better than without, minus Ashley.
I don't know why. It's just a beard. I don't know. But thank you. I appreciate it. But thank you. Rugged. Towards because Chase is so hardcore. But yeah, I like that. What you're talking about. And as far as .com, it's like it's always been just there for everyone to try. It's set at a certain standard. And as we say this all the time, it's like there's what is prescribed and there's what everybody else is capable of and everything in between. And that's the beauty of CrossFit. It's infinitely scalable. It's constantly modified for where people are at in their fitness journey. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty sweet. Thank you, Soccer Mom. No beard fan for me. All right.
Sorry. I guess I'm out.
Bearded Chase looks like he chops down trees. I feel like that's the only way you could look if you were to chop down a tree is that you must grow a beard first before you can do that. But all right, so let's get into 2 weeks of Boz.com. His first one, we touched on this last time. His first day of his programming was hero workout of your choice. This was on September 11th. So that was his first day of programming, and he just threw it out to the community as pick a hero workout of your choice, something that speaks to you, something that you really do to maybe honor those that hero names or hero workouts are named after, and that's for really fallen service members or first responders in the line of duty.
And the cool thing about that, I mean, one, it's on September 11th, so obviously that was a great time to put something like that in. And if you've been in the space for a while, you have a lot of options for hero wads. Backstreet Boys. She's. I mean, you could do something as relatively short as like DT, and do something really, really long, which is going to be more like a Murph or Chad or any of those ones. I mean, you have a lot of things to choose from, which I think is really good. The one thing I was thinking about when I saw this was, a lot of times. So when I started looking at .com in the very beginning, I didn't know a lot about CrossFit. I just knew that they had some weird workouts on there. So if this was my first one, like if I came in on this day, I'd be like, well, what do I choose from? I have no idea what to do. So I, as a CrossFitter that's been in the space, I like what it is. I like that you have a lot of options. I like that you can make it long or short or whatever. As a brand new person who's never seen it before and comes into this, it's like, ooh, what do you do with that?
Right. The
Just
one thing here, and I like you, this can happen from time to time, is like pick whatever you choose. The challenging part, especially when you look at hero workouts, it's usually they're more often than not very robust.
Oh yeah.
And so you have to be careful of how you're maybe going to schedule out your training for the rest of the week. If you're doing this on a Monday, it's like you do something like pick one, bull, which is like double unders, running, and overhead squats. And I think there's 100 total overhead squats at like 135 and 95 with that.
Yeah.
Like, all right, pick something that maybe won't break you off for the rest of the week because you don't know his program coming up on Tuesday, Wednesday. You're going to get a rest day on Thursday. We should basically revisit that. The day programming schedule that Dave set in stone. Well, not set in stone. Set up when he took over was 3 days on, 1 day off, 2 days on, 1 day off.
1 day off.
So moving up to Tuesday, we go from, which I actually like that Boz followed up a hero workout day with a progressive strength day, especially with squats. So it's 3x5 overhead squat, 3x3 front squat, 3x1 back squat. So what could be a high volume day on Monday, we come back, take the intensity out, add some weightlifting in there in 3 movements that you can do pretty easily, even if like you're beat up from the day before. This isn't like a heavy single squat snatch,
right,
or a clean and jerk coming off of that.
Right. And I mean, I would say most of the time, whenever they do like the strength part, it's like a 5x5 or a 3x5 or whichever, there's a lot of build up to it. The build up on these 3 movements are basically kind of built in. When you go from the overhead squat, you basically, whatever your top off on your overhead squat is probably going to be where you can get your good 3 reps for your front squat, which is probably going to be a nice starting point for your back squat. So you're building into that, which is great. And you're right. It really slows the day down compared to what you just did the day before. And I think that is, being that the Hero WOD day is so extremely open, that this was a really good pick for him to do.
Yeah.
I mean, because even like the overhead squat, maybe you're going to feel it in the shoulders.
Sure.
But it's not going to be that bad on the legs. It doesn't get heavy until like the last 3 reps.
And the also part too is that if it was 5x5, 5x3, 5x1, then you're really, I think, dipping into a much higher volume, more opportunities to get heavier, easier.
Yeah.
This is very self-limiting. Because it's not, I do a set of 5, maybe do a middle warm up, and then I do my another set of, like, that's not how this is supposed to go. Like, you're warming up, you hit 5, you add weight, hit 5, you add weight, you hit 5. And the idea really is, because it's going overhead squat, front squat, back squat, you should maybe be able to take something close to what you finished on the front squat and maybe do that for overhead squat.
Yeah, totally.
And maybe do that first rep at back squat at what you did for the 3 on overhead squat. Maybe tailor a step down. You remember those, what is it called, where you finish your last set, you drop to the next set as your second to last weight? You know what I'm talking about? That kind of like stair step squat. You do like
kind of like a wave set.
Yeah. Wave set. But this is a wave set with different squats too, which I really like. In the order of overhead squat, front squat, back squat, obviously what you overhead squat typically is not as heavy as what you can front squat, which is not as heavy what you could back squat. Unless you're me, because I can overhead squat more than I front squat. But
Are you serious?
yeah. I've got weird problems. But so you followed it up with a squat, and the next day you follow it up. And again, if you think about what you could have done on Monday, and then what we did on Tuesday, Boz follows it up with probably the most disrespected workout of his entire 2 weeks, when this one has all the good stuff in it. When you think about the magic that is in CrossFit training and you think of the word intensity, 1,000-meter row, 3-minute break, 750-meter row, 3-minute break, 500-meter row, 3-minute break, and then a 250-meter row. Boom. That's it. 2,500 meters worth of rowing, 1,000, 750, 500, 200. Not twice, not 3 times, 1 time through. And if anybody knows anything about 1 time through, you should immediately have been panicking about what is about to happen to you if you do this workout correctly. But to me, this is the workout everyone at your gym skips when you program it.
Yeah, because it's just rowing, and all they'll see is like, well, it'll be bad. But I think it's really interesting with Boz, the way he put these 3 days. Like when we talked at the beginning of the show, it was talking about how .com is kind of programmed into the ether. It's not necessarily to a vacuum, but it's into the ether. So like everyone has a shot at this. So if you're looking at the brand new CrossFit, I've never done it before. I'm looking at some YouTube stuff. I have a couple things. I'm in my home gym. I'm going to try it. You do whatever hero WOD, you do some strength stuff. You don't know how hard you're supposed to go on this. So it's a great time to go, oh, okay, I went pretty hard on that. I probably could go harder the next time. And you're setting up like a foundation. Then you look at the same 3 days with like an elite level athlete. They're going to pick something like Murph right out.
Right.
They're going to go really heavy, which even though the volume's down, they're going to go really heavy. It will definitely slow them down. And then this one right here, you're right. This is going to be the oh shit factor.
Yeah. If you know, and I think
the long grind, the heavy, and then just pain.
Yeah.
How bad do you want it to hurt?
What a great setup. Because like we said in the beginning, the danger of giving anyone the freedom to pick a hero workout and how that could interfere what's going on with the rest of the week is the way Boz set this up. I thought it's great. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Because no matter how maybe beat up you might be from whatever you did on Monday, you can get out there and you can get under a bar and do some heavy squats. Because traditionally there might be a lot of like high volume, low weight squats in a hero workout. You said Murph, 300 air squats. Maybe you used a vest, so you're a little, wary. But your 5x5 overhead squat, it's more limiting with the upper body stability and mobility. Usually the legs have never been the problem for most people. And now you're warmed up for the front squat. But it's just 3 and it's only 3. And then you can only get so heavy on back squat with 3 single opportunities. You can't make a big jump and fail one. Because done correctly, like you only get 3 chances at 5, 3 at 3, 3 at 1. Not, well, I missed one, so I get an extra set. It's like, no, that's not how it works.
Right.
But this one, man, I did this one and it messed me up so bad. I thought it was the year 2013, not 2023, when I started this workout. And after the 1,000, I got back to the 750, and have you ever done intervals?
Yeah.
Where you messed up, you have a long way left to go, and you're actually scared of the next interval to start?
Yeah. That's honestly almost every rowing interval set I've ever done. I always come on like, oh, I feel good this time. And I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
I just stepped over the line. Stepped over the line.
And I get the one where you're 100 meters in, you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
I hate the one before I start, and I'm already in the hole. And
I was gonna say, what did you feel like that 3 minutes after that? If you do 1,000,
light years, like the speed of light.
It's the quickest 3 minutes of all time.
It's like when Tabata gets bad.
Yeah,
like the 20 seconds, like 6 minutes on, 1 second off. That's what Tabata starts. It was rough, and it was wild because I have never been so afraid and I totally caved of 250 meters on the rower. I was like, this is going to be over in like 45 seconds. But this is like the scariest 45 seconds.
Yeah.
It's the scariest 45 seconds other than doing like the 100-meter freestyle in college.
Well, it's because it's only 45
No.
seconds. You have no reason to not empty the tank and go all out.
Yeah.
Or for the 100, hold your breath for the whole damn time.
Mm-hmm. It was great. And,
Yeah.
and again, this is the one that it looks too easy. It looks boring, bland. But when you think about running like down the middle, intensity chasing, mental fortitude, and work capacity, like this thing was great.
Yeah.
Great. Rest day. Look, it just says rest day, Bill. Take a break.
Wait, we can't do like a marathon assault
run.
bike?
Yeah, just a rest day, which, you know, this is called foreshadowing, everyone. Simple rest day. Into the next day, we have, this is very Bozzy. Every 2 minutes until the required repetitions cannot be met, which is death by.
Yeah.
Run 200 meters and then start with 5 burpees. Every 2 minutes, start again, add 2 reps to the burpees until you can no longer get all the work completed in those 2 minutes. These are awful. Like, you think AMRAPs are bad? At least you're like, I have a fixed time frame to do more work if I choose to do so. Here is you have no fixed time frame. No fixed rep scheme. It's going to get worse. And the only thing that can truly stop you is your willingness to basically like not put out anymore.
Yeah, you choose not to do it.
Yeah.
Because there's that voice in your...
At a time, I'm like, no. Everyone's been there. Like, you're telling me you got to the round of 19 of the 21. You couldn't get those 2 burpees? You're telling me you maxed out your intensity.
Everybody knows when you get really, really close to that one round, there's that, I'm probably not going to make it. Maybe I don't. That voice, that one.
Or
you're like, shit, I probably could have made it. You're like, oh, I'm just not going to make these next 2. Dang it. And you know exactly what you're doing. Like it's you. I mean, everyone has done it.
Yeah.
But it's self-pussing out.
Yeah.
It is. I mean,
that's the worst part, because like, I don't want to say 100% of the time, but most of the time you don't make the next round because you pussed out. And that's why I hate emails, because at the end of it, I might have had a great workout. I might have beat everybody, but I knew I was a bitch for 2 minutes.
Because that's all it really comes down to, is that like last 2 minutes, that last 2 rounds or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
This is great. And so, for example, I got through the round of 19, which is what my big starter goal was, or I should say baseline goal. So I got through 19. I got 19 with like 2 seconds to spare. And on the run, I knew I had made the physical decision to not make it through the round of 21.
Yep.
And I got 18 burpees in the round of 21. And I'll tell you right now, if I really, truly wanted to do it, I could have gotten to 21 because I ran fast enough that I knew I wouldn't make 21 burpees. But the fact I got to 18 with still being a little baby about it, because if you really did max out, do you know how many burpees I would have got if I got the round of 21? Truly, probably 6.
Yeah.
Right? Because I killed myself to do it, dead on the run, and just like laying down and getting up. That's maxing out. Like, no one really misses a round by less than 3. So I'm self-outing. But this is
that's to say that's how it is. Mm-hmm. And again, going back to old school, intensity. And it's what's cool about these is when you have the additions like that, is it like all of the round, like so many of the rounds before that
worthless
are warm up.
Not worthless. Yeah, warm up.
It's all warm up. You only really get basically in every death by, it's like the last 2 or 3 rounds. We're like, okay, now we're in it. Mm-hmm. Oh shit, that was close. And then you're skating line. Yeah.
Well,
It's like, oh, that's it.
round of 15,
I got
crushed
so
it.
much. I got so much rest.
And yeah, you're right. It's like I'm good, and then I'm just not, and there's
Yeah.
no in between.
Right. Totally.
You get the round that scares the shit out of you, and then you really have to make a choice.
Yep.
So it's great. And this is a theme I'm starting to see with in Boz's 2 weeks is that he programs a lot of things that it's your choice to make the most of it, which I think is cool and challenges the athlete versus just give them something so hard that they're going to get something out of it no matter what. So for example, the rowing one, you could do everything at 2 minutes and just be a waste of your time. This one is like you could have stopped after 10 minutes because you ran slow and you burpeed slow and you're like, oh, I didn't make it. And I like when that gets put on the athlete.
Well, and again, I would think that the majority of the people that are looking at these workouts are working at home by themselves. So they don't have a coach that's sitting there, pushing them and coaching them and moving them through it. So it's like, if I'm a new person, maybe that 2 minute time frame, that 2 minute split on the 500 that I'm doing, maybe that's what I have, and I'm emptying the tank. If I was to do that, even not having been rowing for a while, it's like,
yeah,
okay, I just moved.
All right, I mean, 2 minutes relative to
Totally, but that's what's important though, is knowing that it so far what he's put out, even on the heavy lifting,
right.
There was no weight on there. There was no percentage on there. It was lift what your thing is and lift what your ability is that day. What's heavy that day? And this is something that Glassman always talked about, was when we talk about intensity, it's relative intensity to you. How you are that day. What are you dealing with in your life? Are you feeling sick? Have you been rested? Are you not rested?
Yeah.
And you push to empty your tank, whatever your tank is that day. So maybe you were feeling great on the hero workout. Maybe you felt strong. You got to the row and you just sucked because you're whatever. And then maybe you caught a cold and you're like still in your garage doing this, but you're still doing something, pushing to whatever it is that you have. They may be able to do that. So that's what's great, is it does allow for the athlete to adjust their day accordingly. This is really weird because I think we are so used to putting weights and percentages on certain things that we want, because we are looking at a particular stimulus that we're trying to get. I've seen, like, back in the old days, like Chris Spieler was doing this, where he took all the weights off of his workouts at his gym and kind of let people do the same type of a thing, where it's like you kind of pick your own fitness. I don't really like that for a gym setting because they're paying for me to tell them what to do. I mean, that's one of the things they're doing. But I do like this for this setting, for the .com setting, because again, you have the multitude of abilities that are all being able to play, getting what they need out of it, or can get whatever they need out of it.
I like what you said there, because two things. One, giving people the ability to do what they want in maybe a .com setting. But on the flip side of that is the value and importance of having a coach.
Oh, yeah.
And the value and importance of having or doing these in an affiliate. I get not everybody can. I do things in my garage. People are probably doing it all over the world in their garage as well. But you can easily do these workouts wrong and get very little out of it. You're still going to get something out of it more than just sitting on your couch.
Hell yeah. Totally.
But the value and importance of having a coach who can teach you how to maximize your ability in this workout by dosing you with the right stimulus and that push. So the value there. Now, on the flip side of everything we just said, of like having to basically like push yourself to do things, Boz comes out and programs this guy. Which 5 rounds for time, 2-mile bike, 3,200 meters, 10 ring muscle ups, 10 deadlifts at 185 and 275. I have not been able to do this one yet just because physically I can't, but this thing looks awesome.
I think it looks amazing.
And then you put in there too is like, if you can get outside on a real bike, we encourage that, which I love those little side notes, like if you can do that. But this thing is a monster. And this is when we say is like, hey, the row thing, you got to figure out how to go hard. The lifting thing, as you said, you got to figure out how to go hard and go heavy and make the most of the opportunity. The burpee one too. Here, if you just were to start this and finish it, no matter what you did or how you scaled it, you're going to get a lot out of this one just because of the volume and difficulty of the things programmed.
Yeah, this would be like the classic Sunday workout that we would do at my place. Just something that's like the long grind. It's like, hey, look, I mean, I'm not overly concerned with intensity. Like, here's a monster task.
Right.
What can you do? And I like having those two. I think that there's a place for that in fitness, in training. You know, it's like it doesn't always have to be maximum intensity.
Right.
Sometimes the intent is, here's a shit ton of work.
Yeah.
Okay, have at it. Let me know when you're done.
Yeah. Attrition training.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I like that. And I like this one. I can't wait till I have the ability to do ring muscle-ups again, because I really want to. In fact, Boz asked me, I think on almost a weekly basis after this, is like, have you done it yet? I'm like, no, I can't. I'm not avoiding it because of the deadlifts. I can do that. I can do that. No surprise that you have a rest day. Hey, Bill, only a rest day.
Amazing.
Only a rest day after something like that. And that's 1 week. In a quick wrap of 1 week, we had pick a hero workout, heavy squats in a descending fashion. I'm trying to think of a better word than that, but whatever.
I think that's
row intervals, rest day, burpee run intervals, and then a monster basic grind sesh at the end that had high volume aerobic monostructural. We had high skill, high volume gymnastics, and then you had moderately heavy, high volume basic pulling from the floor, which we haven't done yet.
right.
And I really liked that whole first week.
Yeah, it's cool.
Really liked that whole first week.
And again, getting outside of like your classic gym, and this is the thing that I like about .com, is you have the ability to not be confined to what you have to do if you're like in your local gym, in your local box. You know, I like that.
Yeah.
Get it there and do it. Do some stuff.
All right, Monday, we had a hero workout to start week 1. We have a benchmark girl workout to start week 2, but we did have 2 options. The first option and the main one was going to be Nancy. 5 rounds for time, 40-meter run, 15 overhead squats at 95 and 65. The other option was Helen, and I believe this option was on cap that day. .com being different than CrossFit affiliate programming as far as what's programmed on the day. Also, just to revisit the benchmark, maybe you didn't do it during Games Week, which it was heavily promoted during Games Week. But Nancy is one of those that it's not that hard. It's not too much volume. It's not too far to run. It's not too many overhead squats at the weights given. Therefore, you have to make the choice to maximize the intensity with intentful effort to get there. So Boz, again, once programs something that puts it on the athlete and the coach to get right.
Why do you think you picked these 2? I mean, I understand the Helen part because it was in the games. If you were, they used to do, if they did Cindy, they'd always put Mary. Because they're about the same. They're the same types of movement, same time frame-ish kind of deal.
Yeah.
I wonder why you picked these 2.
I totally think it's just to get a benchmark into the app, as it says here.
Just any?
That's it. No, it's like, hey, if you haven't done Helen, even though we push you to do Helen to put your score into the app, like Nancy's not in your benchmarks in the CrossFit app or the CrossFit Games app. Helen is. I honestly think it was just get this in the logged in. That's legit what I think it is.
Okay. Well, then they should have just left Nancy off and just made it Helen.
Yeah, but I think they programmed Helen during the games, which doesn't mean you can't revisit it like a month later. But
all right, totally. But I mean, I just and again, like I.
Right, so if they kept Nancy, what would be your alternative like Nancy?
I don't know, because what is that going to looking at like?
What about Nicole?
Like 13 minutes, 12, 13 minutes, 13
Where's
minutes,
Nicole
14 minutes.
Bench.
Nicole was you can do that. That's 20 minutes. That's 20 minutes. AMRAP, a 40-meter run, max effort pull-ups.
Yeah,
I like that one a lot.
Yeah, well, I know you do.
That was fun.
You're a pull-up guy.
I don't know. I mean, they have done. This is an old school .com thing where they would put this or that. It just seemed interesting that they didn't. Even if they wanted to get the events in the app, just to have something a little bit different, I thought they would have been a little bit more similar, time wise.
Yeah,
just curious.
Yeah, true. Time wise, I would say effort-wise between the run and the other movements, it's very similar. Because, right, sub 7-minute Helen is the ultimate gold standard for Helen. And a sub 10-minute Nancy is the ultimate goal for Nancy, which would require you to sprint the runs and do the squats fast and unbroken for 5 rounds. So the same effort would need to be there and focus. Like the runs have a massive impact. Massive impact. Same for Helen, right? Like it's not the kettlebell swings or the pull-ups. Once you get to a certain fitness level, it's just how hard can you run and how long can you sustain that effort.
Yep. Me, honestly, I'd only like to have to do 400 meters instead of 5.
Yeah. Yeah, totally right. King Kong would have been a great compliment to.
Oh, perfect. Yes, absolutely.
So, all right, that's Monday. We go up to Tuesday, and we have the shoulder to overhead version of what the Tuesday was last week with the squat version. You have a 5x5 strict press into a 3x3 push press into a 3x1 push jerk. And we just came off running. We just came off overhead stability and squatting. So now we're going shoulder to overhead. Even if, say, you did the AMRAP in 20 minutes with the run, this would still be a good one to follow up with because you went from the gymnastics pull to the weightlifting press. So that would work with your idea that you had.
Well, and then if you look at how they have this, they got that all the pressing work. And then it has, after completing the final set of the movement, perform the max set of L sit pull-ups. So it's kind of like, all right, if I decided to do Nancy, that means I was going to be in that overhead position. If I decided to do Helen, then I was going to be doing the pulling, whether it's going to be the hinging and like pulling the kettlebell up or doing my pull-ups there. So you kind of get a little bit on each of them. Either one, you're going to be affected somehow, either by the pressing heavy work, or by the max L sit pull-ups,
after each of the final set. So you have 3 of those max effort L pull-ups. I forgot to see that at the bottom. Thank you.
Which is kind of cool. I mean, so what I like about it is the push pull. It's interesting because I think this is very old school black box-ish, where Greg used to throw. He would have a very normal set, and then there'd be some weird thing that would kind of come from the side and kind of get tossed in there. And to me, that's what this looks like.
Like supersets back in the day.
Totally. This is a push-pull superset. So you do your 5-5-5 of the shoulder press, and then you like push, max L sit pull-ups.
I like this too, because if we just go back to what was actually programmed, and let's just say it's Nancy.
Yeah.
You go from run to squat to overhead stability into a lifting portion of shoulder to overhead in different phases of press, and push jerk, and then throwing in those L pull-ups for a max set at the end of each one of those last sets. So after your final set of 5, set of 3, and set of 1.
Yeah, it's awesome.
In 2 days, you've got all of it.
Yep.
You've gotten all of it in just 2 days. So I like it. I like it. Coming into Wednesday, the intervals test from the CrossFit Games, 21, 15, 9 box jump overs at 24 and 20. Cal row, 9 burpee box jump overs at 48 and 36. You do that again, 21, 15, 9. Rest until the 6-minute mark, 9, 15, 21, 9, 15, 21 in the reverse order. I am just going to go out there and say this. Where I did this, we didn't have a high, I tried this. We didn't have a high box to jump over, so I did burpee pull-ups in lieu of the burpee box jump overs, which check the box, plenty.
Yeah.
This was so hard. I don't know what
it's so great because you actually watch the athletes do it and they make it look so god dang easy.
What the athletes made this look like is nothing like how this played out physically for me.
Worst part was the box jump overs?
Yes. Coming to the second, so 21:59, I was like, doing great. And I came to the second round. The second round in the first set of 21 box jump overs, like, oh no. And I was like, oh, I'm going to have like 2 minutes of rest. These guys did it in about 3 or 4 minutes. I was like, all right, I'll be 4 minutes. It's like, bro, I had like 40 seconds rest. I was like, what the fuck? And on the way back, it took all of me just to get underneath the, I would quote, 6-minute time cap for the second round back. You're on the row. You're on the last 15 cal row. just wanting no part of those last 21 box jump overs.
Well, okay, so when we watched the games and they were doing this, the row was like worthless.
Right.
Was the row needed for you?
No, and I think anyone that made the row something at the games, that's where they hurt themselves.
Totally, 100%.
Because I
100%.
did that on the first set. I was like, I'm not killing it, but like I'm gonna row because I'm a good rower. And it's like totally stupid because I would never do that normally. I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna row easy, and I'm still gonna be a good rower relative to maybe 90% of the people I'm going against.
Yeah.
Instead, I made myself go faster for what, 3 or 4 seconds, and just totally wasted myself. So it was great. So if you guys have never done this one and you looked at that workout, you're like, oh, this is just a group class workout interval. Why are the games athletes doing this? Do it.
Yeah.
Do it and try to get underneath the first 6-minute mark, let alone start at the 6-minute mark. This thing was rough.
I think it's so cool. Would you have just removed the row, taken the row right out?
What do you mean?
Like, I know it's 21-15-9, but just go 21-9, 21-9. Just take the rowing out.
No, the row is important.
As far as for what?
It wasn't worthless because if you were a bad rower, it made a difference. If you're a good rower, you still didn't get a break or reprieve between the two jumping elements. Like it had like a weird piece of just, it didn't let anybody take a break, even if you're good or bad. It had a weird purpose, and to take it out would completely change everything, in my opinion. So yeah, it was weird. Like it didn't necessarily 100% matter, but yeah, it was good. It was. Cool. Yeah, I totally disrespected that. I text Boz like, I want to apologize for anything I never said, but I said in my head. All right, after Wednesday, hey, look, we have a rest day.
Those rest days.
Just a complete and total rest day.
Why didn't he put a book on there for us to read?
I'll give that. Like, hey,
where's our book?
Yeah, where's our book? Where's our article?
That's right.
But, not where's our, run a half marathon if you get bored. All right. Friday. Practice handstand skills for 15 minutes. Whichever handstand skill you need. Maybe it's kicking up to the wall. Maybe it's walking up to the wall and being inverted. Maybe it's kicking up into a handstand and trying to hold it as long as you can in the openness of your gym. Maybe it's in a little box. Maybe it's in a smaller box. Maybe it's on parallettes. Maybe you do all of that in 15 minutes. And then once you've rested, you get set for the real workout. And it's complete as many reps as possible in 15 minutes in a rep scheme of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 of squat cleans at 185 and 125 and wall-facing handstand push-ups. If you finish through the round of 10, you go back to the round of 2. And you have squat cleans, 185 and 125, wall-facing handstand push-ups, and good for you, Boz. Wall-facing handstand push-up. Thank you. Thank you for writing it yourself. Just wanted to throw that out there. Commend you. There's no such thing as a chest-to-wall handstand push-up. Wall-facing handstand push-ups. This thing, the difficulty of the wall-facing handstand push-ups and squat cleans, I think, are very similar. If you excel at one, usually you may not be great at the other, and vice versa. Whether it's clean or the handstand push-ups, obviously you want to have the best of both worlds. I really like this combo.
Yeah, I think it's more trappy than people think.
Oh, for sure.
And it's not the movements per se. It's not even the rep scheme per se, because after 10, it takes you right back down to 2 again.
Right.
What makes it hard is you're doing this shit for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Like you're in it, man, for 15 minutes. And that is going to be a lot of cleans, a lot of squat cleans, and a lot of those handstand push-ups. And the people that come out really well, like, oh man, this is always one of those ones where like you look up for the first like 4 minutes, like, dude, I am crushing it. Oh shit, why am I crushing it right now? Damn it. You get all your rounds in like the first 5 minutes, and then you get less than that in the next 10 minutes.
Right. People's like, they're like 2, 4, 6. I'm 3 to 4 minutes in. I'm going to get like 2 rounds. Then the round of 8 takes you 3 to 4 minutes.
Right.
And now you're just hoping that you can actually get the last 10 squat cleans done before the time hits. And
Right.
you haven't even gotten to the last 10 wall facing handstand push-ups yet.
That's so good.
I do like the combo here. Obviously, wall facing handstand push-ups is more of Boz's intent and speed with the programming as of late. If it was regular strict handstand push-ups, I think this would heavily favor the clean. It's like, oh, it's a clean workout. But since it's a wall facing, I feel like that offsets things a bit more. Aside from those that just can like do them in their sleep, no problem. But the balance between the two, I thought was pretty good for the majority of people.
Yeah, because it's still a relatively newish movement. It's not one that we do all the time. It's the same idea as when Dave, whenever he would put a Fran type workout in the open, he would always make the weight 100 pounds.
Right.
And 70 pounds, not 95 and 65. And it was just enough to make you go like, what the fuck? Shit, I know what my time and my numbers are. Why is this? This is like messing it all up right now. And that's what this was. You're right. If you were to make it, whatever, strict handstand push-ups the regular way, everyone knows how to play that. Mm-hmm. They know where they are. But like now all of a sudden they can't fall into routine. They have to actually think about it and kind of react on the fly, which is great.
Yeah, and I thought and I like the squat cleans in there. Power clean is just a totally different workout.
Yep.
Why? Because everybody would rather do a power clean, so it tells you it's a totally different workout. Ask anybody what real Elizabeth is. All right, and then we come to Saturday. 10 rounds, each for time, hill sprint or stairs. Find a big hill or set of stairs that will allow about 20 seconds of effort. Rest 90 seconds between each effort. One of those where it's, hey, the effort is on you. What you choose is you choose. It's like the old Airdyne sprints back in the day. 20 seconds on, although I think it was more 240 off because it was disgusting.
Right.
But that's your interval training. That's the thing that you can either do incorrectly and it was a waste of your time. And then you're like, oh, that was the warm up for something I'm going to do later. You could blow yourself up in round 1 or 2 because you went too far.
Yep.
It's like you said earlier, it's something anyone can do anywhere, whether it's look, it's raining. It's like, okay, do it on the rower.
Yeah.
Do it on your bike, do it on your Airdyne, do it on your ski erg. Find a hill. Okay, you don't have a hill, find some stairs. You don't have that, a straight A will do just fine.
Yeah.
And I'll say it again, is that this also reiterates the value of having a coach that can help get you prescribed appropriately.
Yeah, totally. And that's what they feel it's all about, is getting at. What I think is really great about this one is you don't think about the coming down the hill or the stairs.
Good point.
So you're going to sprint up to the top. So you're basically moving for the entire time. 10 rounds of whatever that might look like. You got 90 seconds and then 20 seconds. So he's telling you, all right, I want you to go 2 minutes each one. So you're looking at 20 minutes of sprint, and you're going to have to work your way down the hill. It's not walking. You're still going to have that muscle that, the muscles that you're having to use on the way back down the hill or down the steps or whatever, and turn around and get going again. This one is trickier than just being on like flat ground.
Yeah.
And going 20-second sprint, 90 seconds rest. Way different.
It's great because it's the thing nobody wants to do because they either don't respect it or they don't want to put themselves in that position.
Yeah, totally.
Which is every time that should be a red flag to your face of why exactly you should do this. I don't want to do this because I know how bad it's going to be. So bad. But I like that to cap it off for a Saturday because the dose of intensity you're going to get. And then Sunday we have another pure rest day because you should need it.
Yeah.
After everything that we've done. I believe Boz had one more to go. Let's see. Yep. He had one more to go the following Monday. I'm glad this one came up because this is actually right around the time of the Northern California Classic.
That's right.
And Boz has weighted pull-up 5x5 and then a broad jump 5x3. Establish a max broad jump during your warm-up. Take slight distance off of it and complete the broad jump 3 times after each set of pull-ups. So this is a superset, which for those of you guys who don't know that, it's you have 2 different movements. You do one and then the other, like an A1, A2, combining them. So you do a weighted 5x5 pull-up, and that's unbroken for those of you keeping score at home. And then immediately into 3 broad jumps at what? A few inches off of what your max broad jump was in the warm-up. So the distance stays the same on the broad jumps, but the weight goes up on the pull-ups.
I think it's super fun. I think this is one of those ones that if someone looks at, and even though I don't program this way in my affiliate, I completely understand that if someone was to program this in their affiliate, the way that this would be done is there's a lot of buildup to get to those, to get yourself ready to do the weighted pull-up, to understanding what you're supposed to do, to warming up your hips and knees and ankles and the front of your shins for your broad jump, to find out what a true 1 rep max is for that, and then figure out what percentage you want to go after that, and then build into this particular workout. There, I mean, again, it gives you a lot of opportunity to do a lot of different things. This is something that, again, it's one of those very black boxy type of things where you're putting things together that you just don't normally think of putting together. And then you try it and you go, oh, there was a stimulus to that.
Yeah.
I felt it, and I think that that's really, really cool. So, with this, and this being the last day that he had, and you always say this, how you like seeing different programming because it opens up doors to, oh, I could try this now. Well, then how did that work? Let me try that. What did I like about? What didn't I like about it?
Yeah.
Oh, I can for my own artistic flair, I could do this and this. I could put these together. I could put these things together. I could try this, see if that does. So I think this really, not only physically has a lot of opportunities, but programming wise, it opens up a lot of doors for programmers and athletes when they're at home, which is cool.
That's a great point because, I do say that, but I usually only said that around games time.
Yeah.
What's programmed in the open can open up more doors to my, like you said, programming library of things. What gets programmed in quarterfinals and semifinals, and especially the CrossFit Games. That's why I like new programming being unveiled. New programming gets released every single day on .com.
Yeah.
Every single day. And honestly, if you're a programmer in the space or you're a student of the methodology, you should be looking at .com every single day. Read what it is, why it's there, if they put any other additional information, and just expand your horizons. We get hit up all the time. It's like, hey, I want to become a better programmer. Where do I go to look for more programmer ideas? And we're just like, go to .com.
Well,
just go to .com.
Dude, if you are a CrossFit Games athlete, you better go and keep your eyes open on .com just to see what's coming up. Because there's always little hints in there. And if, Boz has something to do with it, and, Dave has something to do with it, there's always little things like, okay, when did that thing come out? And we've seen it so many times.
Yep.
Where those items will come out, and it doesn't mean that you need to do the .com workout if you have your coach and all that. But like, if you're a coach or you're an athlete, you need to have your eye on that, because where do you think the programming comes from? It comes from the guys that are putting it out there, the ones that are giving the okay to that's out there.
Right.
So keep your eyes open.
Like, for example, something Dave programmed, the little twist. If you don't think a 5-minute AMRAP of a gymnastics triplet for reps, I know it was for time, but for reps, straight into 5 minutes to establish a max deadlift, and then into reps again and add all the numbers together isn't a possibility for something like, say, the open.
Oh, geez.
Like, you're kidding yourselves.
That this is a big experimental box even for him. Well, how'd that work out? What kind of numbers did people get? Let's see what they put in the comments.
Yeah, I mean, you said black box a lot of times, and it's not just black box for the athletes and the coaches. It's a black box for those that are doing the programming on .com and in the future.
Yeah.
So I like it. And what I really like from Dave and Boz is that they took away the fear that I have, or we started the show with, is like people trying to get like too much flair. I mean, there was a time in off-season competitions where it felt like the programmers were trying to make a name for themselves, not with good programming, but with something that's going to catch someone's eye on paper. Or look at this crazy thing that we're making these athletes do. Check out our programming. And what I like from Dave and Boz on their 2 weeks is that it was so basic. Nothing wildly sexy, nothing mind-blowingly like jaw-dropping creative. Some things in there that I was like, oh, that was cool. I like that concept. Like the 5-minute thing that I just talked about. Or I was like, oh, I forgot about death buys or E-moms or E2 moms and adding like I forget about some of those things. It'd be nice to throw that back in.
Yeah.
But everything was so simple, effective, and forced people to really revisit the benefit of relative intensity.
Yeah. Something I think we should do, and I honestly, I kind of forgot a lot of Dave's, but I think we should do is pick your favorite program, your favorite workout from that list of ones we did.
Okay.
So let's do Boz right now since they're all fresh on our head. What's out of the ones that he had, your favorite one?
Oh, that's a good question. It's either going to be the burpee one with the runs, or it's funny. It's like how much I hate it because of how much it exposes me. Or the long monster, 5 rounds, 2 mile bike, 10 ring muscle ups, 10 deadlifts.
I like that one a lot. Like I definitely want to do that one. The one that I think that I like best, because it's one of the style of workouts that I liked when I first started doing CrossFit. It reminded me a lot of why I got into CrossFit, which is I like the stuff that felt like wrestling practice. I like wrestlers were sprint, stop, sprint, stop, sprint, stop. You know, when we're getting after it.
Yeah.
And then when I first started doing CrossFit, there weren't CrossFit gyms, so it was you either did it at home or like I would do it stuff at the beach or whatever. I like that interval run for 20 seconds. Because the second I saw that, I saw the beach and there's a set of stairs where I would sprint up to the top and I would make my way back down and wait till the 90 seconds as I'm sitting there on the beach. Like I think of that one, I'd be like, that's an insanely simple, no need for equipment, but yet you're still, because of the incline, like there is a strength component to it. Like I really like that one.
All right, so if we're both, I mean, we kind of, like I really wanted to, I think it's because I really want to do the other one, but if I picked one.
Right,
I picked one to give to someone. How about that?
Okay.
I'm going to go with the burpee death by. With the run. And you're going to go with the sprint.
I'm going to go with the sprint.
Which is
pretty similar.
Very similar. You want to do, pick one from Dave's?
Yeah. Okay.
So Dave's first one was the
was it the muscle up one, the 200 and the muscle up?
Yeah, and I'm trying to get to it.
What day was that?
That was a Monday. 10 rounds, 3 muscle ups.
Oh yeah, no, 10 rounds, 203.
All right,
yeah.
Run, 3 muscle ups. I want to say there was the AMRAP. I wonder if I have it written down because .com is not pulling it up right now.
Oh, I have them right now. The second one was 21-15-9 deadlifts and 975 wall walks.
Yeah.
The next one was hang squat snatch, 3 3s, 4 2s, 3 1s.
Yeah.
The next one was AMRAP in 20 minutes of 5 push jerks left arm, 5 push jerks right arm, 10 push-ups, 15 calorie row.
Okay.
Back squat, front squat.
Oh yeah.
The ruck, the 4 mile run for time, or the 3 mile. I just know. I am like the worst member that like would see that and be like, yeah, I'm not coming in today.
Yeah.
It's so dumb on me. Chipper, 50 GHD, 40 dumbbell snatches, 30 chest to bar, 20 handstand push-ups, 10 cleans. 5 rounds for time, 20 box jump, 25 kettlebell swings.
Yeah.
5 rounds of 50-foot overhead walking lunge, 21 burpees. And then Cindy, 5 rounds of Cindy, Establish a heavy deadlift, 5 rounds of Cindy. That was the one you just talked about. Then the 1 mile run, echo bike, 2,000 meter echo bike, 1,000 meter row, 1 mile run.
Okay. I think that was officially his last one without the repeat of the.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
Okay.
Your pick.
Ooh. Okay. If I think about old school stuff, I would go Cindy, deadlift Cindy. If I think about my favorite one that he programmed was the chipper.
That's what I picked. I picked the chipper.
So, all right. So you can keep the chipper.
Yeah.
And I'll keep the Cindy, deadlift Cindy.
Okay.
And if you think about the 4 workouts that we just pulled out, it's like, all right, 5 rounds of Cindy, 1 rep max deadlift in 5 minutes, 5 rounds of Cindy. Your chipper of, was it GHDs, dumbbell snatch?
GHD, dumbbell snatch, chest to bar pull-ups, handstand push-ups, 10 cleans.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Mm-hmm.
And you take in the running and burpee workout and the sprint intervals. I mean, like those 4 alone are going to get you unbelievably fit in that week. And they actually all fit together decently well.
Should we write those down?
Yeah, we should.
The Reader's Digest, the all-star version of the all-star programmers.
That's right. And Dustin, you're right. The kettlebell box jump was deceptively awful. Yeah, and that was the one is like you had to go unbroken and just not stop jumping on a box. And like everybody could do it. Nobody wanted to.
Yeah.
It looked too simple to be worth your time. And it's completely wrong. It was totally great. All right. Well, that's our review of Boz.com for 2 weeks. Currently, Ben Smith is on .com. I think this might be his last couple of days left on the programming. If it is, we'll probably close that out next week. Yeah. We have Wodapalooza team qualifiers to go through. We'll do that next week sometime as well. But I hope you guys like that, learned something from it, and are paying more attention to things that are happening in the space. Before we go, Tyson Bagent, good luck, brother. Crosser out there in the NFL. Go Bears.
Go Bears.
I never thought I would say that. Go Bears. Have a great weekend, y'all.
Later.